Hello again. This is another video in which I'm going to respond to a question from a viewer. A while ago, several viewers asked about the inside loop on my layout. Since my layout wasn't up at that time, I couldn't reply to the question. So I'm now in the process of setting it up, so I decided to do a quick video about that loop. This loop with the silver flash is the one I'm talking about. It's basically a figure 8, but it doubles back on itself, so it provides more interest than a simple figure 8, and certainly more than a simple oval. I based that loop on this layout that I found on Pinterest. I was redoing my layout from scratch and wanted more than 2 simple ovals, and this seemed like the perfect idea. The challenge was to fit it into the space that I had available, which was about 9 feet by 4.5 feet. My layout breaks down to 3 sections. Before setting it up, I had a few buddies help me lay it on its side so I could show the inside loop. I'll start at this part of the loop and proceed clockwise. It moves around here with a switch to that siding that I use for a few accessories. Here's a 697 trip that I'll talk about later. The train keeps moving around this curve and then has to swing around here to line up with the 90-degree crossing. I will admit that some engines have a little problem with this jog if I take it too fast, so I sometimes have to adjust the speed around that, but I'm sure that there are comparable situations in real life. So the train keeps going around until it gets back to where it started. By looping back on itself as it does, it sets up the possibility of running 2 trains on this loop by using a semaphore. The semaphore goes here, and this area is controlled by the semaphore. When one train gets to this trip, it brings the flag on the semaphore down and turns off the power to that section, so the other train will stop there. The first train then proceeds around here, goes to the crossing, and then hits this trip, which restores power to that other section. The second train then hits the first trip, and the whole process repeats. This video shows an Atlantic going around that loop. Leaving the layout bare at this point not only makes it easier for you to see the engine going around the loop, but it also gives me a chance to clean the track before putting other things in the way. This video shows a semaphore in action. As the first train hits the trip, the semaphore will change. I encourage you to keep watching the semaphore while also checking when the trains are ready to hit the trips. One of my most recent videos was about the use of the semaphore and trips, which you might want to watch if you're not familiar with it. I put a link to that video in the description. This video is from several years ago, so it doesn't show recent updates, but it still gives you a good idea of how the inner loop works with the semaphore. This video also shows 2 trains on the outside loop. I could also control them with the semaphore, but in this case, the 2 engines are going almost identical speeds, so that's not necessary. I hope this addresses the questions people had. Thanks for your question, and thanks for watching.